Tonateni Haimbodi is on standby. Good morning, Tonateni.
Yes, good morning.
How is the atmosphere like, over there in the north now that we have buried the late president? I mean, you also covered the funeral of the late President Hage Geingob. Tell us about your experience, especially first how you received the news and what immediately sprang to mind.
Remember, it was the first time for Namibia to lose a sitting head of state. And as journalists, we had a sensitive or a huge responsibility to ensure that the nation is informed all the time. We had many questions in our minds when we received the news that our late president has passed on. Because as journalists, we are human also, and we are citizens who were also under the leadership of the late president who passed on. So we had many questions when we learned that he passed on, and we were also shocked because first we received the news that he was going for his treatment, and later the news he passed away. So it was not easy at all. We were just mourning together with the nation as journalists as well. And remember, in the regions, we had a huge responsibility of covering events like candle lighting and regional memorial services. And you go to these events, I'm telling you, sometimes you also have to hold your tears as you see emotions on the faces of the mourners or of people as they pay tribute to their late president.
I can agree with you, Tonateni. Now, the president was also described by many as, a people's person, a people's president. How did the people in the regions you went to cover take the news, and mourn the leader, of the Namibian nation?
People did not take it easy. It's not easy actually to receive death announcement of someone, let alone the head of state. There were emotional moments. There were touching moments. There was a touching scenario when I came across a particular man deep in the village in Okongo constituency. When we came at the cooker shop and we wanted to interview, we made a stop there. We wanted to get the views and tributes and condolences from these people. And this man that we interviewed, before we even posed a question to him, we saw tears running down his cheeks. And throughout the interview, this man was crying. I tried to the best of my ability to comfort him, console him, and to no avail. He said he worked so closely with the late president, and there was never a day that he saw him yelling at him, or any moment he recalled that maybe there were some moments where he can just say that the health state was not good at all. Many described him as a man, a people's person, and he was humble. This man, I'm telling you, he was deeply touched and he cried out throughout the interview. And his wish was to go to Windhoek and see off his head of state as he be laid to rest. But unfortunately, he said he don't have money, and it was really, really emotional because he was a retired police officer. It was a touching moment also for you as a journalist to interview someone. You can see he just crying and you are comforting him. And you also, as you interview him in the process, you are also holding tears. There were indeed emotional moments.
Tonateni, having described all of that, I can imagine how difficult it was for you because you had to separate your emotions as a journalist. So how did you strike that balance, having to separate your emotions and having to do the job in the end?
Yeah, you have to stabilize your emotions as a journalist because if I'm interviewing a newsmaker and we are both crying, then what? You just have to hold your tears. You have to cry inside and hold your tears and try as much as possible to comfort that person. Like in that scenario, I tried to say, I'm sorry, and the guy continued to cry. It was really not easy because you remember you are a journalist and you are a human at the same time. There are moments like this, and it was the first time we are covering. We were mourning at this magnitude because we only usually cover events of official and state funeral that pop in here and there, and joyful moments and happy events. And we had a period of about 21 days to mourn the late president and cover this event. It was really, really emotional moments. I also recall an event where my colleague Ndapanda Shuya had to cover a memorial service of Oshana Hetongwediva, where some mourners broke out at the podium and in the audience. These are moments that were also not easy for us as journalists to take.
Absolutely. Now, with the overall experience, what was the highlight for you?
What was the highlight is that we underestimate this coverage, but we have learned at the end of the day that the messages of condolences were overwhelming, and everybody wanted to give their tributes and condolences to the bereaved family and the nation at large. And we tried to the best of our ability with limited personnel at our disposal to provide coverage. You know, we had to cover 5 regions, Oshana, Msati, Ohangwena, Oshkoto, and Kunene. We really tried to the best of our ability to see to it that we provide coverage to everybody. Not everybody wanted to be covered, but we did our best to see to it that we gave fair coverage to the mourners.
A job well done indeed. And now that the mourning period has come to an end, what stories will you be paying more attention to, Tonateni?
Yeah, it's going to be back to square one of covering events as they unfold to inform, educate, and inform the nation. Yeah, and we are still trying to come to terms and just move on. And now that the mourning period is almost over, and yeah.
All right, Tonateni, thank you so much for your contribution this morning.
Thank you very much.
Well.